Hello, Peaceful Valley Church. This is our Thursday edition of our weekly devotionals, and the weather outside is beautiful. The news doesn't seem to be changing as fast as we would like, but life is getting back to normal. We talked earlier this week about the new normal, and we are continuing on with life. And today I want to open our Bibles to 1 Kings chapter 19. 1 Kings 19, verse 18, is an interesting statement that God makes to a man who was so distraught by his world, a man who was so convinced that he was even alone in his struggles, that he was discouraged and he was dismayed and maybe a little bit prideful, maybe a little bit of arrogance in there. But what we find in all of history, there have been people who have engaged passionately in serving the Lord. And quite often, those people start thinking that they're the only ones left. I'm the only one fighting this battle. The man we're talking about here in 1 Kings is a man named Elijah. And he had been used mightily to stand against paganism, to stand against bad leadership, and he had been able to experience that amazing victory. But his victory was over the queen Jezebel, and Jezebel had responded to this defeat with a letter to Elijah threatening his life. And so Elijah runs away, and he had gotten to this place, and God kept providing for him, but he was all alone, and he didn't know what he was going to do in all this aloneness, and he actually began to even question God's providence, God's love for him. Twice, he kind of draws an accusation against God. I'm the only one who's left who's fighting for you. And finally, God meets him personally. This is the story of the still small voice. God reveals himself to Elijah, and Elijah takes that opportunity to again accuse God of not caring for him. And then God explains to Elijah, actually, I've been here the whole time, and I want you to go continue serving me. And he says, you're going to go to this guy, and you're going to anoint him king, and you're going to go to this guy, and you're going to anoint him king, and then you're going to find this other guy, and you're going to anoint him as a prophet. And then he makes this closing statement. And this closing statement is where I want us to really pay attention to our own hearts. 1 Kings 19:18. Yet I will leave 7,000 in Israel, all the knees that have not bowed to Baal, and every mouth that has not kissed him. You see, Elijah, in all this useful, successful, victorious, scary service of God, had started thinking he was the only one serving God. That there was no one else who was serving God. That there was no one else in the fight. And so God, he continues to send Elijah out to re-engage in the fight. And then, oh, by the way, there are 7,000 who are in this fight as well. You are undoubtedly in the same type of situation in your life. You are engaging on different fronts. Maybe you're talking to your family about certain things, or your coworkers, or your children, or your parents, or your spouse, or your neighbor, or maybe you're on Facebook, or maybe you're getting caught up in different arguments, and you've begun thinking that you're all alone in this fight. And if we can learn anything from 1 Kings 19:18, is that God is actively engaged in where you're at. That's true. He's also engaged in countless other situations. We see here 7,000 other people. Elijah thought he was the only one, but the reality is there were 7,000 other places where God was actively engaged in protecting his people and supporting them in their ministry and building them up in their life and helping them to walk through life. Today, I want you to know you're not alone. You're not alone. God is taking care of you, and that's true, and that's worth being encouraged by. But also be encouraged by the knowledge of the reality that God has countless other people that he is actively engaging with and in the lives of so that they would succeed and be victorious for his good and glorious name also. So today, I would encourage you, reach out to somebody that you know is also in the battle, and maybe you forgot that they were in the battle with you. Reach out to somebody who's in the battle and encourage them. Help them to know that they're not alone. And even today on this Thursday, the middle of the week Thursday can be some of the most nebulous, unexciting days of the week. But let today be a day where you reach out and encourage someone else and remind them they're not in this fight alone either. May God be with us this week, and today especially as we encourage one another. Have a good day, Peaceful Valley Church. Goodbye.